Teyana Taylor finally reveals why she left Pierre. I can't pretend anymore. The internet didn't just react, it imploded. Phones dropped. Timelines froze. Group chats went into cardiac arrest. Because the woman who has mastered silence, strength, and composure just shattered the illusion with one sentence that hit harder than a slap in the dark. I can't pretend anymore. And suddenly, everything we thought we knew about Teyana Taylor and Pierre collapsed at once. This wasn't a quiet breakup. This was a controlled detonation. A beautiful couple was erased overnight. No warning. No explanation. Just a chilling absence, followed by chaos. Fans were still asking what happened when insiders started whispering, "You have no idea." Because behind the red carpets and soft smiles was a story no one was supposed to hear. Leaked messages. Deleted voicemails. A confrontation so explosive it allegedly ended with doors slammed and security stepping in. And while Teyana disappeared from the spotlight, Aaron did the unthinkable. One photo, one post, and the internet went feral. Women flooded his comments like sharks smelling blood. Twitter erupted. Fans turned on each other. And buried beneath the thirst traps and viral jokes was a darker question nobody wanted to ask out loud. Was this relationship ever real? Or was it all a perfectly staged illusion? Because sources are claiming Teyana didn't just walk away, she woke up. And what she discovered shattered her. This isn't heartbreak. This is exposure. And once you hear what really happened behind closed doors, you'll never look at this couple the same way again. At first, nobody wanted to believe it. The photos were still too fresh. The memories too loud. Teyana Taylor and Pierre weren't supposed to end like this, not abruptly, not silently, not with the kind of tension that makes the air feel heavy even through a screen. Just weeks earlier, they were everywhere. Red carpets. Soft touches. Lingering glances that fans swore couldn't be faked. Teyana had called him her apple pie, a phrase so intimate it melted timelines. And then, without warning, the energy shifted. No announcement. No goodbye post. Just absence. And in celebrity culture, absence screams louder than any statement. The first crack showed up in the smallest way. A missed birthday acknowledgement. Fans noticed immediately. They always do. Comments rolled in asking where Aaron was. Silence. Then an awards event where Teyana appeared solo, glowing but guarded, answering questions with practiced calm. Insiders say that was the night she realized she was alone in more ways than one. According to someone in her circle, she'd been making excuses for months. He's busy. He's private. He hates social media. But the truth kept pressing in, harder to ignore every time he vanished right when she needed him most. Behind the scenes, the relationship was no longer smooth. Friends say Teyana started feeling like she was dating a ghost, present for the cameras, absent for the real moments. Calls went unanswered. Texts took hours, sometimes days. And when she finally confronted him about the distance, she didn't get reassurance. She got deflection. One insider claims Aaron brushed it off as pressure from work, telling her she was reading too much into it. That sentence landed wrong. Because according to people close to Teyana, she wasn't imagining anything. She was feeling the imbalance in real time. Things escalated quietly before they exploded publicly. There was an argument that insiders still describe as the turning point. It happened after a high-profile appearance where they posed together flawlessly, then left separately. In private, Teyana allegedly asked him why he felt so present in public and so cold behind closed doors. The response she got changed everything. Sources claim he told her he needed space not because of her, but because of where his career was going. That answer didn't soothe her. It terrified her. Because suddenly it felt like love had conditions. Timelines. Expiration dates. Then came the message that sent her spiraling. A text, allegedly meant for someone else, forwarded to her by accident. The wording was brief, but devastating. This is getting more serious than planned. Planned. That word echoed. Friends say Teyana reread it over and over, trying to make it make sense. Planned how? Planned by who? That's when the questions she'd been suppressing rushed in all at once. Was she the only one emotionally invested? Was this relationship something he was managing instead of living? While she was unraveling privately, Aaron stayed publicly composed. No hints. No cracks. Until he posted that photo. One picture, impossibly polished, impossibly confident, dropped without context. And the reaction was instant. His comment section turned into a battlefield. Women openly celebrating his single status. Others jokingly offering comfort. Memes. Thirst. Chaos. Fans noticed something chilling. He didn't shut it down. He didn't limit comments. He didn't correct the narrative. He let it burn. According to someone close to Teyana, that was the moment she felt humiliated. Not because people were thirsty, but because he allowed it while she was still bleeding. The internet began doing what it does best, investigating. Old clips resurfaced. Interviews replayed. Fans noticed how often Teyana praised him publicly, and how rarely he returned that energy. Screenshots circulated comparing her affectionate posts to his carefully neutral captions. The imbalance was impossible to unsee once it was pointed out. And then came the whispers from industry insiders. The kind that start quiet and grow teeth fast. Claims that Aaron had always been emotionally distant. That he was strategic with visibility. That relationships, for him, were carefully contained chapters, not open-ended commitments. One particularly explosive rumor came from someone claiming to be adjacent to his team. They alleged that from the beginning, there were parameters around how public the relationship would be, when appearances would happen, and how long they'd last. At first, fans dismissed it as fan fiction. Then more details surfaced. Timelines that aligned too neatly with his career milestones. Appearances that coincided with major announcements. Disappearances that followed once the buzz peaked. Suddenly, the relationship started looking less like a love story and more like a rollout. Teyana, meanwhile, was unraveling quietly. Friends say she felt foolish, not for loving, but for believing she was safe to love openly. This was her first major public relationship after divorce. Vulnerable territory. She had let her guard down, trusted the softness, ignored the warning signs. And now, in retrospect, every moment felt tainted. Every smile questioned. Every memory re-examined. Insiders say she stopped sleeping. That she replayed conversations in her head, realizing how often she'd been the one pushing for connection, while he stayed comfortably detached. Then came the confrontation that insiders describe as explosive. Raised voices. Tears. A line crossed that couldn't be uncrossed. According to one source, Teyana accused Aaron of treating the relationship like an accessory. Something to put on when it suited him and discard when it didn't. He allegedly responded by saying she was taking it too personally. That sentence broke her. Because what is love if not personal? What is intimacy if it's managed instead of felt? After that night, things ended quickly but painfully. No dramatic public fallout. No joint statement. Just distance. She pulled away. He stayed quiet. And the internet filled in the silence with speculation. Some defended him, saying busy schedules and pressure ruin relationships all the time. Others sided with Teyana, calling out the emotional imbalance. But the loudest voices were the ones asking the question no one wanted to answer: was this ever real for him? And just when it seemed like the story couldn't get darker, a new detail emerged from someone claiming to be close to Teyana's inner circle. They alleged she discovered something after the breakup, a conversation, not with another woman, but with someone involved in managing his image. A discussion about timing, visibility, and how the relationship had run its course. When she saw it, everything clicked into place. The distance, the detachment, the way he never fully let her in. It wasn't fear. It was control. According to that source, Teyana didn't scream. She didn't lash out. She went quiet. And when she finally spoke, she said the words that have now become infamous: "I can't pretend anymore." Pretend that she wasn't hurt. Pretend that love didn't matter. Pretend that she was okay being a chapter instead of a priority. That wasn't a breakup line. That was a declaration. And just as fans were still processing all of this, insiders teased that Teyana hasn't told the full story yet. That there's more she's holding back. More details that would completely change how people see this relationship. Messages, recordings, context that hasn't surfaced yet. Because according to those closest to her, she didn't just walk away from Pierre. She walked away from protecting a narrative that was never protecting her. And what she's considering revealing next could flip everything upside down. Once the silence settled, the real chaos began. Because when a woman like Teyana Taylor goes quiet, it's never peace, it's preparation. While the internet argued and Aaron's comment section turned into a digital mosh pit, Teyana was reportedly piecing together a timeline she had never seen clearly before. Friends say she started asking questions she'd avoided for months. Why certain appearances felt forced. Why he only wanted to be seen at specific events. Why intimacy seemed to evaporate the moment the cameras were gone. And the answers she uncovered were uglier than the rumors. It started with a pattern. Not a scandal. Not cheating. Something colder. Calculated. Insiders claim Teyana realized Aaron's distance wasn't random, it was consistent. Predictable. Almost scheduled. He'd disappear right before emotionally significant moments, then resurface with a polished public gesture that made fans swoon and silenced doubt. When she tried to talk about feelings, he reframed it as stress. When she asked for reassurance, he offered ambiguity. One friend described it as emotional starvation disguised as mystery. And the worst part? Teyana kept blaming herself. Then came the leak that sent private group chats into meltdown mode. Screenshots allegedly showing Aaron discussing the relationship in detached, almost clinical terms. Not with friends, with people tied to his career. Phrases like public perception, long-term positioning, and keeping things clean. No pet names. No affection. Just language that sounded more like brand management than love. When Teyana saw those messages, according to sources, she didn't cry at first. She laughed. A sharp, disbelieving laugh that turned into something darker. Because suddenly, moments she'd defended didn't need defending anymore. They needed explaining. Around the same time, whispers about Aaron's past started resurfacing with new intensity. Old connections. Former partners. People who noticed the same pattern, charm without depth, presence without vulnerability. A woman allegedly close to one of his exes claimed Teyana wasn't the first to feel this way, just the first to experience it publicly. The others had stayed quiet because they were private. Teyana didn't have that luxury. Her pain was unfolding on a stage with millions of spectators, and every move she made was being analyzed in real time. Social media poured gasoline on everything. Twitter threads dissected his body language frame by frame. TikToks compared how he spoke about work versus how he spoke about her. The consensus grew louder. She was emotionally invested, he was emotionally insulated. And while fans argued, Aaron's silence became its own kind of statement. No denial. No clarification. Just a steady stream of controlled content that screamed unbothered. That contrast, her heartbreak versus his composure, made people furious. Not because he moved on, but because it looked like he never arrived in the first place. Insiders say Teyana finally confronted him one last time, after the breakup, not to reconcile, but to understand. She wanted honesty without polish. Reality without filters. According to someone who knows what was said, she asked him directly if any part of their relationship had been real for him. The pause before his answer told her everything. He allegedly didn't say no. He didn't say yes. He said, it was what it needed to be at the time. That was it. That was the moment the illusion fully collapsed. Because love doesn't expire on a schedule. And hearing it framed that way reportedly left her shaking. Meanwhile, the internet kept spiraling. Women continued flooding his posts, openly celebrating the breakup like a win. Others attacked Teyana, accusing her of being dramatic or too emotional. The backlash was relentless. But what fans didn't see was how much she was holding back. Friends say she was urged to speak out immediately, to drop receipts, to tell her side in detail. She refused. Not because she didn't have anything to say, but because what she had could burn everything down. And she wasn't sure yet if she wanted that kind of destruction on her conscience. Then another rumor surfaced, darker than the rest. Allegations that the relationship's ending had been discussed internally before Teyana ever knew it was over. That there was a quiet consensus among certain people that the timing was right to move on. When she learned this, according to insiders, it reframed the entire breakup. It wasn't just that he emotionally checked out. It was that the ending may have been decided without her. That realization cut deeper than any betrayal. Because it meant she wasn't a partner in the story of her own relationship, she was a variable. Public opinion began shifting rapidly. Even people who had defended Aaron started questioning the optics. Why had he never publicly acknowledged her vulnerability? Why did he allow the thirst, the jokes, the disrespect to continue unchecked? Silence can be neutral, but in moments like this, it's loud. And his silence was deafening. Teyana, on the other hand, was spotted looking thinner, quieter, more guarded. Not broken, but changed. Someone close to her described it as the look of someone who finally understands the truth and hates how long it took. As pressure mounted, media outlets reached out to both camps. Aaron declined comment. Teyana declined comment. But behind the scenes, she was reportedly having very different conversations. With friends. With mentors. With people who had been where she was, used emotionally while someone else stayed strategically distant. Those conversations planted a seed. The idea that silence doesn't always mean strength. Sometimes it means letting someone else control the narrative. And Teyana was tired of that. According to insiders, she began writing. Not a statement. Not a post. Something raw. Something private. Words she never intended to share, until she realized how much power there is in naming your pain. That's when the phrase surfaced again, I can't pretend anymore. This time, it wasn't just about the relationship. It was about the performance. The expectation that she be graceful, quiet, and unbothered while her experience was minimized and repackaged for entertainment. And just as the internet thought the drama was cooling off, a new detail emerged that sent shockwaves through fan circles. Someone claiming to have heard a private voice memo said Teyana referenced a moment where she felt managed, not loved. That single line hit like a gut punch. Managed, not loved. Because if true, it confirmed what many had suspected, but couldn't prove, that the relationship wasn't just emotionally uneven. It was fundamentally misaligned. Now fans are watching closely. Every move. Every silence. Every unfollow. Because according to those closest to Teyana, she's standing at a crossroads. She can keep absorbing the speculation, and let the story be written around her. Or she can speak, fully, honestly, without protecting anyone who didn't protect her. And here's the part that has everyone holding their breath. Insiders say if she talks, it won't be vague. It won't be coded. It will be precise. With dates. With context. With proof. Because the truth she's sitting on doesn't just change how people see the breakup. It changes how they see him. And that's why, right now, everyone is waiting. Not for Aaron to explain himself, but for Teyana to decide how much she's willing to reveal. And when she does, the fallout won't be contained to gossip blogs or comment sections. It will force a reckoning about power, image, and what really happens when love becomes collateral damage in someone else's rise. By the time the third wave hit, it was no longer just a breakup story. It was a full-scale reputational earthquake. Because something shifted behind the scenes. The tone changed. The whispers stopped sounding like speculation, and started sounding like warnings. According to multiple insiders, Teyana reached a breaking point where protecting the narrative felt more painful than exposing it. Not out of revenge. Out of self-respect. And that's when the people around her realized this wasn't going to end quietly. It began with subtle moves that only seasoned watchers caught. A quiet unfollow here. A deleted photo there. A lyric repost that felt a little too pointed to be accidental. Fans dissected every detail like forensic evidence. And then came the private conversations that weren't supposed to leak, but somehow did. One source claimed Teyana confided that she felt edited inside the relationship. Like parts of her were welcomed, while others were inconvenient. Her honesty. Her emotional needs. Her desire for real presence. Those things, allegedly, made him uncomfortable. Not because he didn't care, but because caring disrupted